The Premiership is number one for excitement. Tonight, a cracking London derby, Arsenal versus Chelsea.
Adams. Hartson. Oh, he's there, Ian Wright, and a good stop by Dimitri Garin. Now then, Burley, the man, Burley's forward in the centre. Petrescu beats his man. It's Dan Petrescu! Oh, it didn't really finish up as one or the other.
We have Aston Villa against Coventry, featuring Dwight Yorke, who's been in red-hot form.
Right, Yorke!
And Dion Dublin, who's recently been steaming.
Here's Richardson, looking again for Dublin. Oh, he's done ever so well to control this, and he scored!
We'll see leading scorer Les Ferdinand as the leaders, Newcastle, take on Everton. There are bags of goals from elsewhere to enjoy. And plenty of talking points for Trevor and Gary tonight. Well, only Arsenal have managed to bring the championship to London in the last 30 years. Too many tightly fought derby matches is one of the reasons put forward as to why the title usually goes north. Today's game at Highbury with Chelsea, the visitors, was no exception. Watched by John Motson.
When Chelsea inflicted on Arsenal their first defeat of the season at Stamford Bridge in September, it was Mark Hughes who scored the only goal. But when the clubs have met at Highbury in recent years, Ian Wright has been the scourge of Chelsea. He's scored in the last 4 league matches against them here, all of which Arsenal have won. And the Gunners are unbeaten at home this season. That's partly down to the fact that their solid backbone of goalkeeper and back four are all ever present. David Platt, who missed the England game, is fit to start, but Dennis Bergkamp, injured playing for Holland, is not. And there's no place for his compatriot Glenn Helder as Bruce Rioch sticks to the team that drew at Southampton last week. Glenn Hoddle, meanwhile, makes one change to the Chelsea side that beat leaders Newcastle. Craig Burley, who goes into hospital for a knee operation on Monday, is back today in place of Paul Furlong as Chelsea switch to the formation that did so well at Manchester United a fortnight ago. 2 birthdays this week. Eddie Newton was 24 on Wednesday. England's Dennis Wise was 29 yesterday. And Ruud Gullit, who should be fit in a week's time, still heads a long Chelsea injury list. Well, both Bruce Rioch and Glenn Hoddle have expressed their admiration for the way Holland played on Wednesday. That's Dewberry slipping early on for Chelsea. Just wonder whether in the hectic surroundings of a London derby it'll be possible to keep cool and exhibit those sort of skills. Forward by Lee Dixon. In fact, there are 30 London derbies scheduled in the Premiership this season. And Martin Keown for Arsenal. Playing it forward quite nicely, actually, to John Hartson, and a hurried clearance only comes as far as Dixon. Good early ball from Keown, that. And Glenn Hoddle certainly believes the proliferation of London derbies makes it harder for a team from the capital to win the championship. Everyone tends to be rather like a cup semi-final. Now some movement from Chelsea. Little John Spencer making a forward run. On this side, they've got Phelan, and Eddie Newton did really well there. This is Hughes. Spencer. Newton's now in the centre, calling for a cross. This is Wise. Bit of spin on the ball. And ultimately, a corner. Well, Lee will take this. And Hughes in the heart of the penalty area. Eddie Newton comes in behind, but the wind carried the ball a bit there. This is David Platt for Arsenal. And that's a good-looking ball towards Ian Wright. It's a beautiful ball. On his own at the moment, Wright. And Hartson couldn't get there to meet the pullback. Wright was driven slightly wide, but it was a great crossfield pass by the England man, David Platt. Jensen's in there, so is Wright. Now support coming in from Merson. Lovely pass by the England captain, who hasn't been in the side recently because of injury. This is Terry Phelan. Chelsea playing some quite nice, neat stuff in this area of the field, broken up there by the foul on Hughes. And Tony Adams, who was sent off last week at Southampton, the Arsenal captain, is now going to receive another yellow card. Adams' suspension will start, or the match for which he will be suspended will be next week at Liverpool, when Arsenal will also be without Steve Bold. It's going to be a muscular contest between Hughes and the Arsenal centre-back pairing. John Jensen getting in there. Hughes again, this time Bold comes in behind him. That's a yellow card for Steve Bold. So both Arsenal central defenders have been cautioned in quick succession for fouls on Mark Hughes. First it was Adams and this time it's Steve Bold. And that's the kind of tackle that FIFA and referees everywhere no longer want to see. Myers. Wise.
Take him out!
Confident in their passing in that part of the pitch, Chelsea. Trescu.
Pressure on the ball! Taylor!
This is Burley. Phelan coming in. Spencer, well taken. Little John Spencer thumped that in without hesitation. And Chelsea find that their approach work brings its reward. It started way out on the right with Burley. It looked too deep at first, but Phelan tucked that back beautifully. And Spencer drives comfortably past David Seaman. And Chelsea are in the lead. Goalkeeper really given no chance. Well, John Spencer, who will doubtless be a candidate for Scotland's European Championship team, shows here what a good, decisive finisher he can be. Adams got wrong side of Hughes. Oh, that's a fabulous effort. It really was. Mark Hughes, who's perfectly capable of achieving the spectacular, got the other side of Tony Adams and hit it on the volley. What a marvellous goal that would have been. One for the scrapbook for sure. It just went over the bar. And the Chelsea supporters would have loved to have seen that scream in. Here's Burley. To Lee. And he's got it back. This is good movement from Chelsea, it really is. Hughes. This must have Glenn Hoddle purring at the moment. Petrescu. Burley. Ooh. Hughes just blocked off. This has been a splendid 15 minutes for Chelsea. Glenn Hoddle seeing his team produce the kind of football that he and Peter Shreeves have been working on. Here's Wright. Merson. Oh, it's well played. John Hartson well forward there to collect the pass from Merson. That's more like Arsenal. John Hartson, though, was a couple of yards away and the keeper had it covered. Chelsea just rolling the ball about. And at that particular point, perhaps a bit too much. Well done, Lee. Look at that. A more orthodox ball forward by Adams, but as the half-time whistle goes, Chelsea are more than good value for their lead. 26 minutes, John Spencer struck the goal, but they had the more coordinated effort in that first half, Chelsea. Very much playing off the back of their victory over Newcastle last week and putting Arsenal's unbeaten home record at this stage of the afternoon under some kind of scrutiny. Changes on both sides at half-time. Glenn Helder has come on for Arsenal, so bearing in mind he's replaced John Jensen, it looks like a switch to 4-4-2 to them. And Steve Clarke has come on for Chelsea in place of Terry Phelan. Referee Gerald Ashby gets the second half started. The news of Terry Phelan is that he's damaged a hamstring. He played, of course, in midweek for Ireland. So Clark's on for him, Chelsea having to reshuffle. And we'll also see whether the presence of Helder on the left wing for Arsenal makes any difference. Helder, who also played in the international at Liverpool. Good ball by Merson. Lee Dixon trying to get down the right, and Arsenal force an early corner. Which means straight away, Bold in the near post area. Adams coming in behind Hartson. Martin Keown there too. Hartson's in there. Hartson off the line. What a scramble, and Chelsea survive. John Hartson unlucky, but the defender was in the right place. This is Helder. Well, John Hartson must have had 3 goes at that. It all came from a corner by Paul Merson. Hartson got it down here. The first effort was blocked. Then he managed to squeeze a shot in. Look where Dennis Wise is. It's the captain who gets the ball off the goal line. That's really good play by John Hartson. And the man over on the... It's Hartson again. I was about to say, the man over on the right, Martin Keown, found a very good position, he really did. It was Keown who made this possible. He held on long enough to feed it in off the defender, and John Hartson was shaping here for the volley, but he really didn't get hold of it properly. Merson starts Arsenal going again. Winterburn. Keown. Adams. Hartson. Oh, he's there, Ian Wright, and a good stop by Dimitri Karine. It was Wright's first real chance of the game, and in every other situation you'd back him to score. But the goalkeeper did ever so well here. It's in, first of all, by Adams to Hartson. Now here's Wright. First time effort, good block with the legs. And the Russian goalkeeper keeps Chelsea in front. Now is that the signal for an Arsenal recovery? This is Winterburn. Helder. And it's still Glenn Helder going right across. Oh dear me, it's going to be a throw-in unless he's careful. Still awaiting his first goal in Arsenal colours. There goes Hartson. Ah, good challenge. It's Myers. Now it's Lee. Look at those Chelsea lads at the back. Feeding Wise. Oh, this is good football. This really is good to watch. Spencer. Hughes has pulled away on this side. Helder had to go back. Careless. Petrescu. Spencer. Wise. Spencer. The danger's not over yet. Well, he must be very, very pleased with the style of the performance, as much as the fact that his side lead 1-0. Now then, Wright forces the corner, which you honestly think is possibly Arsenal's best hope, a goal from a set play, because they're not opening Chelsea up any other way. Up comes Adams, up comes Bold for the outswinger. David Platt! Well, he has had 2 or 3 headed chances, but his efforts have gone away each time. This is the only area where Chelsea have been slack. They haven't picked Platt up at set plays. Adams. Now, Wright against Dewberry. I think you've got to say 2 things about that. First of all, that Wright will get his shot in from virtually any angle. But secondly, that Michael Dewberry did enough in the way he shepherded him to make sure that the angle was never better than unfavourable for the striker. Hughes. Ooh. Now then, Steve Bold has had a yellow card. It's red. It's red. Steve Bold is going to go off for a second bookable offence. Both of them were for tackles on Mark Hughes, and Arsenal for the second week running are reduced to 10 men, with one of their centre-backs being sent off. Yes, he took the leg, Steve Bold, I have to say. And Adams off last week, Bold off this week, both facing suspensions. Well, nothing going right for the home side here. Craig Burley moves away. And Dewberry's in there with the header. Flick on. Platt! Oh, that was a good chance. As good as Arsenal are going to get, you feel. Ian Wright just gets a little flick on that, and Chelsea, for once, make a mistake in defence. Platt fell over, really, as he struck it. And Chelsea win it back. That's a great turn by Eddie Newton. Helped on a bit there by Hughes. What a good ball to Petrescu. Now then, Burley, the man furthest forward in the centre. Petrescu beats his man. It's Dan Petrescu! Oh, it didn't really finish up as one or the other. Lovely the way he turned inside. There were 3 players waiting, actually, for a ball slid across the area, but I'm sure he was going for glory there. Merson. Oh, it's good! Paul Merson! Merson! Oh, off the bar! Helena! Good save! Oh, thrilling stuff. And Merson struck this well enough. It comes back off the crossbar. Look at that. And the rebound, it looked a good chance for Glenn Helder, but the defender, Petrescu, threw himself in front, and then Karine saved it. Chelsea have survived. Dixon! No, they haven't! Lee Dixon! With 2.5 minutes to go, a goal at last for Arsenal. Lee Dixon smashes that in, leaving Dimitri Karine standing. Helder took the corner, Chelsea got a ball half away, and Dixon thrashed that in for a superb goal by the fullback. The 10 men of Arsenal have fought back to equalise. You've got to applaud their spirit, even though they came second best for much of the game. A London derby that's had plenty of passion, plenty of incident. full of possibilities, many of them Chelsea's, it must be said, but here are Arsenal again with Ian Wright. Merson, Wright again, three in the middle waiting. Here's John Hartson, no. Well, Chelsea must be wondering just where that lead has gone. They looked so comfortable with it for so long. But instead, Arsenal, with only 10 men after Bold was sent off, staged a recovery, and another defender, Lee Dixon, got the goal that protected their unbeaten home record and saved a point. Having said all of that, and given them credit for character, you've got to say that Chelsea played some smashing football for much of the game, and they will go off wondering quite why they didn't win. As it was, if they put the second goal to Spencer's first, which perhaps they should have done, they would have taken all 3 points. As it is, two London clubs again have to share them.
We felt today we deserved the 3 points, but it's been a tough time coming here for the club, even before I come. We've been beaten well the last couple of years we've been here, but today I felt the performance warranted a win, and it would have been nice to turn that record round. But we didn't get our just rewards today, but at the end of the day I was very pleased with the performance.
I still think we've got a great deal to do within the club. Our passing today wasn't as good as it has been. Our control of the ball wasn't as good as it has been. And so long as people maintain a consistency in performance, then there's not a problem in selecting teams. But we'll most certainly miss Bergkamp.
They were down to 10 men and we should have kept the ball a lot better. But they punted it forwards, and it was a great strike by Merson, and they got a corner from it and they scored straight from there, and it was a great strike.
I got myself out of jail a little bit because I wasn't having the best game I've ever had in my life, so it was pleased. Having said that, the lad said I needed to have an hat-trick to get out of jail today.
We'll talk about Chelsea in a moment, Trevor, but Arsenal, they did look as though they were missing Dennis Bergkamp today, Bruce Real.
Yeah, they missed his creativeness. I think, you know, they lacked that, generally speaking. They lacked a bit of width as well. And of course, they've got the problem, Adams and Bald are going to be out suspended next week. And, you know, we've mentioned, I think it was about 18 months ago, wasn't it, after the '94 World Cup, this problem of perhaps defenders now, we're picking up yellow and red cards. And it was a great example today with the likes of Tony Adams, really, and Steve Bald, who do like to mark tight. And I think, you know, when they are so tight, really close to an attacker. Here, for instance, you know, Tony Adams comes beyond Mark Hughes, makes a good interception, does make contact with the ball, and then Arsenal build up from there. The same Steve Bald as well, he likes to mark really tight with an attacker. Here again, he's anticipating the ball in, comes in front of Hughes, says thanks very much, and then goes away with the ball. Now that's fine, and certainly they've thrived on that for years, and they've been a cornerstone of their success. But nowadays, with the yellow cards as it's shown, Tony Adams here, even though he's standing up, he just tries to go through the legs, doesn't make contact with the ball, and that's where he picks up his yellow card. Steve Bald, I think, even more obvious, because he tends to lunge in and comes off the ground. There, for instance, then as he follows through, I mean, he whips both feet away. There's really nothing the referee can do than show the yellow card. This is even worse for me, because he actually does see the ball. It's there to be tackled, but again, because he's off the floor and lunges in, he then is going to knock Hughes off balance. And, you know, I think they've got to stand up. I remember Ruud Gullit and Charlton's been saying this week, defenders have got to now learn the art of staying on their feet and not diving in.
Yeah. Well, Chelsea stayed on their feet and played some very impressive stuff today.
Well, I think they must have been watching the Dutch, because they passed it around superbly. I think the goal was the best example. You know, they keep possession, very patient. I mean, Glenn Hoddle has been trying to introduce that into the side, and they've got good touch. I thought Burley and Newton in particular, the two central midfielders, kept the ball well. But here they're just, you can see all of the Arsenal players, goal side, but they've not panicked, they've spread the ball. Again, Burley plays it out to Petrescu, good attacking fullback, we know that. Burley makes the run outside, it's knocked in, and then he gets it again, and all this gradual build-up. There's 10 passes involved before Terry Phelan knocks it back, and it is a great finish from Spencer. But it was very patient, and, you know, in the Dutch we said how patient they were. The only thing I would say about Chelsea, again here, their build-up play is good and it's intricate. You can see a number of Arsenal players try to close them down, but they do keep possession. But they've only got about 17 goals, I think it is, in the Premiership, which is very low. And you can see as that ball's knocked in, Mark Hughes very isolated, and I think they've just got to get the balance between joining him from midfield. The play in there is good, but now and again you must have 2 or 3 going into the penalty area.
Thanks, Trev. Well, now a Midlands derby, Aston Villa, 6th in the table at home to Coventry City, whose top division status has looked in real jeopardy after 29 seasons, but who last week, of course, beat the champions Blackburn 5-0. The commentator at Villa Park is Clive Tilsley.
It's the time of the year for dropping in on old friends. There are a few people in football with more friends than Ron Atkinson. Mind you, much has changed in the years since he was the Villa manager. Today's team contains only 2 Atkinson signings. Irish skipper Andy Townsend, still not quite over a knee injury, is only a substitute today, although Paul McGrath is back from Anfield in one piece. 7 of that team have been bought by Atkinson's successor, Brian Little. Mind you, 7 of today's Coventry lineup have been brought in since Big Ron took over there in February. It would have been more, but new loan acquisition Chris White is suspended and Chris Coleman joined Blackburn instead. Still, 4 changes from the side that beat Blackburn so well last Saturday, including a debut for 20-year-old Noel Whelan, a £2 million buy from Leeds United. That equals the Coventry club transfer record. Paul Alcock is today's referee. Coventry City have never, ever won at Villa Park in 60 years of trying. Gareth Southgate back in the Villa defence today after a glimpse of the England midfield on Wednesday. You could say Villa have made a slow start because in this fixture at Coventry in September they were already 1-up. Dwight York scored in 15 seconds that day. Fastest scorer in the Premiership so far this season. Hugo Ekiog is captaining Aston Villa in the absence of Andy Townsend and Steve Staunton. Coventry lifted themselves just off the bottom with those 5 glorious goals against Blackburn last weekend. Villa have scored a grand total of 5 in their last 6 games. Nonetheless, they're title contenders after flirting so dangerously with relegation themselves last season. Really has been all change in these parts. Paul Williams just there ahead of Savo Milosevic. Selfa looking for Unlove, getting it back. Southgate with Unlove, and the ball beats them both. Dublin this time for Hall. Mark Draper. One of those introductory tackles from Kevin Richardson, and the referee quickly introduces the yellow card. Kevin Richardson back on familiar ground, and Mark Draper very quickly on the ground. Milosevic in pursuit, he's got him behind Williams. Savo Milosevic held up by Filan and cleared by Williams. Southgate turning it back in, but the chance had already come and gone for the big Serb. This is his 11th match for Aston Villa here at Villa Park, and he's still to score for the club here at Villa Park. It was an awkward high. Milosevic's touch letting him down. Hall though straight to Taylor, now Draper. Well, Wright did offer to make a forward run, then checked. Clearance by Boost. Draper winning it fairly. Johnson. Oh, Milosevic wanted to take it. Johnson says, I'll have it. A goal in 12 minutes from Tommy Johnson for Aston Villa. And Savo Milosevic almost took it off him. Johnson made the break inside. That's where the big number 9 says, well, I'll have it if you want. And Johnson said, get out of my way. Thumping finish. Not the best of defending, you'd have to say. He ran past a lot of people. Tommy Johnson, who got in the side because of an initial injury to Andy Townsend, has now scored 4 goals in the 8 games since Brownhill recorded him. Nicely done. Hall has got beyond Southgate. Oh, he went for glory and he had 3 in support. A little bit rash there. Marcus Hall, 19 years of age. And well, that's the confidence of youth, I suppose. But he's getting a little bit of earache from 1 or 2 of his senior colleagues. Milosevic. Oh, he was held there by Williams. He's pushed it to Johnson anyway, and York, and the flag's up, it won't count. No goal. Dwight York was offside, but I'll tell you what, Aston Villa might have better claims for a penalty. Because as Savo Milosevic turned Williams there, I'm almost certain there was a bit of shirt pulling going on just there, and it really put him off his stride. Johnson miscued and York had got beyond the last defender, and that's why the flag went up. Johnson. Richardson came in late, Johnson didn't like it. Referee happy to give the game a chance. Villa in possession. Ekiok, Johnson again. Now Wright. A little bit isolated there. Unlove got in a challenge. Yellow card shown to Kevin Richardson. He's off. Booked in the opening moments for flying challenge on Mark Draper. Kevin Richardson, the former Aston Villa player, has now been dismissed by the referee. I think what happened there was that Paul Alcock played an advantage when Richardson came in with a headstrong challenge on Johnson, clocked that, and when play stopped, out came the yellow card. Richardson's second. Coventry's 4th dismissal in the last month. Free kick's been given. Coventry did produce a sterling performance with 9 men against Wimbledon recently. Shaw with a free kick, headed by McGrath. If there's anybody on the field who looks like he's had a week off, it's Paul McGrath. Draper on to Milosevic, only Johnson in the middle for now. Taylor's arriving. It's a useful ball from Milosevic. Filan didn't fancy it, just lost its flight a little bit. Hall hooked it away. Alan Wright, Mark Draper, Andy Townsend, Hugo Ekiok. Ekiok has come off Filan and he's recovered. It was a wicked cross in the first place, and then a well-struck shot by Ekiok, and Filan rode his luck a little bit on both occasions. 2 Australian goalkeepers on view today, John Filan for Coventry, and Mark Bosnich, who was actually in the same Olympic squad with Filan in Barcelona, at the other end of the field for Aston Villa. Hall could only hold Milosevic up. Well, you can't pretend he's made a dramatic impact in the English game. And at times it's been a real struggle for him in truth, but 22 years of age, and Big transfer fee, and if only he could break his duck here at Villa Park. At least Aston Villa have done that. The last 3 fixtures between these two here have been goalless. We knew it couldn't last. Tommy Johnson made sure of that. The other major incident of the first half, the dismissal of the former Aston Villa skipper, Kevin Richardson, for a second yellow card by Paul Alcock just before the break. 1-0 the home side lead. A changing goal for Aston Villa at half-time. Nigel Spink making his first appearance of the season because Mark Bosnich has picked up a hamstring injury. Ron Atkinson's League Cup success with Aston Villa last year was the first major trophy that the West Midlands had seen since Coventry's FA Cup triumph in 1987. Before that, you have to go back to Villa's European Cup win of '82, Nigel Spink and all that. So much potential around if you visit St Andrews or Molineux, for instance, but so little for the fans here of late. Gary Charles trying to provide more for the Aston Villa fans. Fallon couldn't hold it in, and Milosevic couldn't force it in. Well, you are beginning to wonder, and he is certainly beginning to wonder, when he's going to score a goal here. John Fallon, it was awkward for him. He had one of his own defenders distracting him, but he couldn't hold it. At least he made himself big enough to prevent Milosevic from scoring, but it was a rather unconvincing effort. Milosevic is there again, came off boost. Hooked away as far as Townsend, who will take another throw. McGrath. Right. Milosevic. Tackled by Whelan. McGrath having a go. That's still rising. Draper picking up the threads again, finding Charles more convincingly this time. Headed by Noel Whelan deep in defence. Tommy Johnson. It's a good cross. Milosevic! Yes! At long last, Savo Milosevic makes himself at home at Aston Villa. Let's get it right, it's far from his first goal for the club, but it is his first goal for the club here in front of the home fans. What a good cross by Johnson, beat Fallon all ends up, and Milosevic was there when it counted. Well, he arrived setting himself the grand target of 25 goals a season. That was his average with Partizan Belgrade, his last club. And in his 11th match for the club here at Villa Park, he has scored his 6th goal for the club in total. City now attacking the end behind which most of their own supporters are gathered. Of course, the only Premiership derby in the West Midlands. The longer it goes at 2-0, the longer the odds against Coventry comeback. Whelan. Big appeals for a little bit of holding there from behind the goal. Solarco finds Telford. Dublin's there, and that's 2-1. Dion Dublin halves the deficit and revives Coventry City's interest in the game. And he is very, very hot at the moment. 9 goals in 9 games since he came back from injury. Another very good cross. Ekiok couldn't cut it out. And Dublin, behind the Aston Villa central defenders, stooped to conquer. 2-1. Southgate. Johnson's on his way back from offside, no flag. This is Townsend. Chance for a Coventry break. Marcus Hall still full of running. McGrath's tackle impeccable again. Johnson taking Williams on for pace. Ekion, Taylor, Draper, Milosevic. Now he started, he's not going to stop. 2 for Savo Milosevic, 3 for a delighted Aston Villa and their fans. And Derby Day belongs to the man from Belgrade. He scored 2 at Coventry in the first meeting in September, but from that kind of service from Mark Draper, the big man really couldn't miss. And all the words of deliberation and debate that have been written about Aston Villa's club record signing in the last 2 or 3 months, Milosevic has come up with the goods today. He's got a team full of potential goal scorers, and he really must have fancied his chances there when Dion Dublin pulled one back. But it's a long, long way back to come again for Coventry. Shaw on by Whelan. He's turning it on now, look at that. Alan Wright, he's got past Dunlop. Milosevic! Oh, I think his heart was just racing. He set it up beautifully. And just a calm stroke of the ball, that's all he was looking for. If you're looking for a level-headed manager, he's your man. He's known non-league and he's known the big league now. He's known promotion and relegation. He's been sacked. Some would say he's been poached. But he's the sort who just seems to meet triumph and disaster with the same quiet courtesy. Even he getting a little bit aerated about Coventry City's refusal to lie down in this game. Charles. Pressure was there from Dublin. Pickering running into trouble in the space of Townsend and Milosevic. He's got his hat-trick. He's filled his boots today, all right. Savo Milosevic makes it 4-1 for Aston Villa and 3 for him. Pickering just taking a chance too many in pursuit of the game. Milosevic calmly lifting the ball beyond John Filan into the far corner. And who knows what a landmark this could prove to be in the Aston Villa career of this young 22-year-old from Serbia. Victories always raise the feel-good factor, and nobody in town will feel better than Savo Milosevic tonight. Aston Villa's record and rather speculative signing has struck gold at Villa Park for the first time. Another unhappy reunion for Ron Atkinson. The happy faces in the West Midlands tonight belong to Aston Villa fans, players, and maybe even tonight their manager too. 4-1 winners.
It's nice to win. I mean, we like winning. There's different ways to win football matches. And today it's probably most pleasing because Sabo scored 3 and everybody's been worried for him lately, and he missed a couple early doors. So we were all getting a bit anxious. Yeah, it's good to win. It's nice to get our first double of the season and find ourselves roughly halfway now in 4th place, so that's steady improvement from last season.
Sabo, is this your best day in England yet?
Yeah, of course. It's my best day in England. I'm very satisfied, very confident with this game. We played tremendous today.
We've had 4 players sent off in 2 weeks now. I don't get players sent off normally. I've had clubs that we know have players sent off, and yet only one of them has been for over-aggressive play. Now, to be fair, Rico today, he's been 2 innocuous challenges, maybe bookable, but what's ironic, you know, is he's come off with a broken nose and stud marks down his back.
Well, we've seen super subs over the years. Today we saw super Serb, and he was outstanding, wasn't he, Milosevic? Hmm?
He was. He's been under pressure a lot at Villa Park. It's not an easy ground to score. I've never scored there, but he eventually did it today. But early on in the game, it did look like it might be one of those days. This is a long ball from Southgate through the middle. Some shocking defending, as you can see. Milosevic is there circled, and that's Williams and Boost there in the middle. But it came through, and he's not that comfortable on his right foot, and he missed that particular chance. And then at the start of the second half, he had a wonderful opportunity to break his duck with the right foot.
Oh, Trev there was 2-footed.
Oh, Trev,
thanks to my dad, when I was 5 or 6, he said use both feet. You've got to do it young. You've got to do it young. I mean, probably Gary can't remember now, but I mean, you know, you've got to do it in your primary years, because once you leave primary school, it's too late. Your skills are bedded down.
Your dad started you off using the other
5,
foot.
6 or 7 is the time you've got to start kicking with, because you're too young to have got into the habits of being 1 foot.
And in the end, were you as confident with the left as you were with the right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people thought I was left-footed. My natural foot was always my right, but because I was working 5, 6 or 7, once I started playing sort of 11-a-sided games at 8 or 9, I used to kick with whichever foot it came to, and it's only done at a very young age. Though.
My dad used to tie my right leg to a chair and make me kick with the left.
Yeah, but that's for other reasons.
Did your dad work on your heading? Did your dad work on your heading, Trevor? Did Dad work on your heading?
Oh, no, there wasn't time, you know.
And an FA Cup final.
Okay, thanks very much. Now let's show you the goals from 2 matches in the north, with first Sheffield Wednesday and Leeds United sharing 8 of them.
Wednesday had £4 million worth of new Yugoslav talent in the stand, but will they be able to force their way into the side? They saw Belgian Marc de Grijs score after only 5 minutes. Wednesday swept forward again and were 2 up after 18 minutes. De Grijs allowed space on the left, and after Hurst had shielded the ball, Guy Whittingham fired it past Leeds goalkeeper John Lukic. 7 minutes later, Waddle was clever with a free kick. De Grijs banged it in, Leeds 3 down in under half an hour. Comic Capers pulled them a goal back, a first for Thomas Brolin, but the Swedish international can't claim the scoring touch was made voluntarily. But they all count, it said. At 3-1, there's always a chance. At 4-1, a comeback is highly unlikely. Graham Hyde hammered in a shot. The ball ended at the feet of Chris Waddle. He casually flicked it over, and Mark Bright settled the result as far as the points were concerned. When a defeat becomes a hammering and when a hammering becomes a rout, it's unclear. But after a great turn by de Grijs, Wednesday were on their way to another goal. David Hurst, set up by Graham Hyde, made it 5-1 with under 20 minutes to go. Consolation came in the shape of a Rod Wallace goal for Leeds, 6 minutes from time. Carlton Palmer played the ball out wide to Tony DeRigo. The fullback weaved his way into the area. Wallace arrived to score. But Leeds boss Howard Wilkinson, who later took the blame for the defeat, "I picked the team and I choose the tactics," he said, had to watch his side concede a 6th goal. When the cross came in, Bright knocked it down. Hurst was injured in scoring a 6th. Wednesday boss David Pleat is hoping the injury isn't serious. He's more than happy with the performance.
In possession, I thought we were excellent. The movement was first class. A couple of the performances technically were brilliant, but the whole team performance was good.
Agony and ecstasy for Blackburn either side of half-time at Ewood Park today. It's obvious which is which. 3 minutes before half-time, Blackburn moved the ball forward. Ripley found Newell, and when the ball was pushed into the path of Alan Shearer, the result was predictable. Goal 23 of the season. But only minutes into the second half, Graham Rousseau fell awkwardly, and it was clear from the outset it was a serious injury. He was immediately taken to hospital with a suspected broken leg, and with Euro 96 in mind, it's hoped he'll be able to recover. Such an unfortunate incident muted the celebrations as Blackburn moved towards victory. Middlesbrough's Derek White was sent off for a second bookable offence a minute before time. The condition of Graham Lasso was the main concern, though.
There's bad news about him, but earlier we saw from Thomas Brolin that continental technique that we're seeking constantly.
That's right. I'm sure Gary scored one or two of these, but I mean, if you're looking for your first goal, you couldn't ask for a better one. I mean, certainly not when you conceded 6 goals the other end, though. But I mean, initially he's only a small fella. He jumps up, wins half a ball, goes in on the keeper, and quite honestly, this is one of those you think to yourself, well, I don't fancy this when we're 5 down already. And then, of course, it rebounds and anticipates that clearance, you see, with a diving header.
Exactly. He was in the right place.
Did you see Steve Nicol complaining? Liverpool defenders, you know, they all, even when they're sitting here, they always complain, don't they?
Yeah, there's always something wrong with it. Great diving header.
He's complaining at home, I expect tonight. Well, now, the leaders, Newcastle, dropped a few points recently, but 100% at home. Today, it was Everton's turn to have a crack at the Geordie fortress. Newcastle replaced injured keeper Shaka Hislop with Pavel Srnicek. Les Ferdinand and Robert Lee both passed fitness tests. Everton boss Joe Royle named Daniel Amakachi in attack and put Duncan Ferguson on the bench. Commentary from John Champion.
Parkinson. Kanchelskis to the right. Slipped Beresford rather too easily for the defender's liking. Limpar is screaming for it, and Stewart had the chance. Maybe the ball arrived just a little bit too quickly at Graham Stewart's feet. Beresford sold himself very early, and Kanchelskis' cross was all that a striker could have asked for. Referee got in the way, and Newcastle still have possession because of it. Ginola. You can't go past defenders, go through them. Beardsley. Looking for Ferdinand, and they've not picked up the big striker. Ferdinand shot! Super goal. The first real opportunity of the match. It's taken 17.5 minutes to come, and yet it was so very simple. Beardsley, of course, was involved. Ferdinand, naturally, was the recipient of the pass, and the result of the move was predictable as well. One back by Ebrel. Kanchelskis. Now Limpar has been about the busiest Everton player thus far. Kanchelskis, Stewart, better play by Everton. Ebrel back to Stewart, Amakachi. Good block by Srnicek. Spread himself well. Barton. Well, Amakachi has won it back. And that'll test out the pace of Beresford. Kanchelskis goes past him and was brought down. The linesman's flagged on the near side to signal it, but the referee was even closer, and Beresford could now be in serious trouble. There's only a small pocket of Everton supporters. They're shouting off, and it is off. And it's difficult, really, to see how John Beresford can argue. Horn. Howie. Clark up in the air. Amakachi. Ooh, Srnicek went down slightly late. But there was some real venom in Daniel Amakachi's shot. Beardsley. Round Horn nicely. Ginola through the middle. It's another perceptive pass. Here's Ginola. And he will know that he could and should have done rather better. Now Kanchelskis. Ferguson jogging forward in the middle. Still Kanchelskis. The defender didn't know which way to turn. Up in the air by Lee Clark. Amakachi. Ferguson rather further out than he's used to. And with Lee Clark close at hand, winning a free kick. Unsworth standing over the ball. 3 in a makeshift wall. This is Limpar. That needs a good quality cross towards Ferguson. Down to Craig Short. Off the line. Stewart back in. Kanchelskis, and it all comes to nothing for Everton. But that's as close as they've come all afternoon to an equalising goal. Ebrel. Kanchelskis. Newcastle have recognised his threat. Ebrel. Now there is space for Kanchelskis. Ferguson and Stewart waiting for the cross. Here it is towards Ferguson with the header. Most of Everton's joy has come down this right side from this man, Kanchelskis. Well, Ginola's tackling isn't his strong suit. And it's going to be a free kick to Everton with 9 minutes to go. Ferguson waits. Kanchelskis delivers. And it may come to Ferguson. But to his foot, not his head. Limpar deflected. And that's a wonderful save by Srnicek. Amakachi to Unsworth and out off Peacock. But Pavel Srnicek did ever so well to readjust his position and his direction and push away the deflected shot. Ferdinand. Well, he's got to do it all himself. Now Ginola arrives to provide some assistance. Ginola, great balance, super shot, off the post. Ferdinand, he could finish it. Somehow Craig Short got in the way. He knows that should have been his and Newcastle's second goal. Ginola for the umpteenth time using all his trickery. Desperately unlucky. And Ferdinand thwarted by Short's block.
Actually, we played better against 11 men than we did against 10 men. The more people we threw forward trying to save the game, the more dangerous they were on the break. And fair play to them, they played exceptionally well. A little bit disappointed in our passing second half when we could have taken the game to them, and we didn't get the ball wide often enough. But, you know, they are potential champions, and I suppose if you're going to lose a run, you know, it isn't bad to lose here 1-0.
A lot of people grew up out there today, if they needed to. I mean, young Lee Clark, people like that, you know. You can't really train and practice and pretend you know what to do when you go down to 10 men. You've just got to make a decision, and then they've got to do it out there. And to a man, they did it today, every single one of them.
Newcastle march on. 3 more games now, all in London, starting with Wimbledon against Spurs.
Spurs have kept a clean sheet for 5 matches now, and it's easy to see why. Wimbledon could have scored 3 times in one incident, but they didn't. Effany Koku had the first chance, and then Dean Holsworth twice was blocked out by Ian Walker, Colin Calderwood, and just for added insurance, the post as well. The Tottenham goal was a beauty. Started by Teddy Sheringham, Chris Armstrong provided the breadth. Sheringham continued his run to hit a delightful first-time cross. And who needs a pair of boots when you've a clear header? Will Fox's second goal in 10 games for Spurs. The Southampton manager, Dave Merrington, will not be a happy man tonight. The Saints took the lead courtesy of Matt Letizier's in-swinging corner and Ian Bishop's attempt to clear. Letizier took the congratulations. All was going well for Southampton until 9 minutes on time. West Ham pressed almost continuously in the second half. Eventually, Michael Hughes' cross exposed the Saints. Tony Cottage's first-time shot beat Dave Besant at the near post. And it all went wrong for Saints 2 minutes later. The defence flat-footed. Ian Dowie against his old club. 3 vital points for West Ham.
Yeah, I think most clubs have got to look to get 40 points this year, and we've got 23 now, so we're pushing on nicely.
That target may seem a long way off for Queen's Park Rangers and Bolton, but for Rangers there was at least some relief after nearly 3 months without a league win. Simon Osborne's first goal of the season, as timely as they come. But so too was Bolton's response. Scott Sellers cost £800,000 from Newcastle United. Goals like this make the investment look a very good one. Wanderers will expect many more. But Bolton are not exactly having things easy at the moment, so when the luck's out, this sort of thing happens. Fabian de Freitas did everything right, but somehow Alan McDonnell scampered back to clear. Worse to follow. Rangers then grabbed the winner, courtesy of Mark Hateley's head, and a beautiful finish by Andy Impey. To round off a thoroughly rotten day for Bolton and anger from manager Roy McFarland, this silly foul by Gudni Bergson, as close to the referee as you like, led to his dismissal. Life at the bottom is hard enough as it is for Bolton.
That defeat at QPR keeps Bolton 3 points adrift of Coventry. Wimbledon are now in the bottom three after losing to Spurs. Manchester City play on Monday, but QPR's victory moves them up the table. Newcastle's lead is now 7 points after that win over Everton. Manchester United face Liverpool at Anfield tomorrow. Tottenham's win at Wimbledon moves them into the top three for the first time this season. Villa climb to fourth. Arsenal drop 2 places to fifth. The Premiership's leading scorers, Les Ferdinand and Alan Shearer, were both on target today, with Ferdinand a goal ahead of the Blackburn striker in the table. Dion Dublin's goal for Coventry at Villa puts him level with Robbie Fowler and Teddy Sheringham on 11. Savo Milosevic joins the hotshots list following his hat-trick for Villa. There we are. I hope you enjoyed the thrills and spills of today's Premiership action. Perhaps not quite in the Dutch class in terms of technique, but Patrick Kluivert wouldn't have minded this one. Good night.
Adams got wrong side of Hughes. Oh, that's a fabulous effort. It really was.
International golf next tonight on BBC One.